Hello, hello. It's Marcia Grace, your modern meditation mentor here on Friday, as always. And I am here today to talk about kind of a serious topic, how to handle these mass school shootings from a spiritual perspective and elsewise, because you just turn on the news and you hear about it, right? So, but first, I just want to give you a little update on my eye situation. Yesterday, I went to the doctor for my 4-week checkup, and he's very happy. My lovely Dr. Chaudhary at Stony Brook Ophthalmology, who I adore, told me I'm doing great and asked me if I wanted to get a prescription for glasses. And I said, wow, you mean I could actually get glasses and I'll be able to see? I can read again? And he said, I think so. So I'm excited. 4 weeks of not reading has been really tough. But okay, so that's my good news. And we should all have good news within our own personal lives. I mean, there's a lot of tragedy and horror going on around us. But let us celebrate the good news that we have in our own lives. Even the most minute little thing, right? Someone held a door open for you, celebrate. Someone called you on the phone, celebrate. Whatever it is. So, because life is tough, and we know that. The reason I'm bringing this up today is because this morning I heard a discussion on a talk show of something called kidulting. Someone has coined a new word, and it's a very new word because I looked it up and didn't even find it anywhere. So it's about art, getting to the way that I'm going to tell you to handle the tragedies of dealing with our stress from the experiences we have. Because as business people, right, we have enough stress in our life already, just keeping our businesses together, doing all the things that need to get done. And especially if you're a solopreneur, oh my gosh, right? You wear 100 hats, and it's like there's never a moment to stop and take a deep breath, practically. So, although we really have to do that, so what I want to talk about is how we can deal with that. And one of the things that I notice with many of us as entrepreneurs is that, and especially if we're stressed, we kind of want to hide it. We want to minimize it. We want to push it to the side and say, oh, I'm fine. I can handle this. It's all right. I'll get through it. And yes, you will, because we're very resilient and clever, and we figure these things out. But it's not a good thing to do, because if you do not confront what you're feeling and deal with it, not just confront it, but deal with it, it builds. It's like a cancer. And I really believe that's one of the reasons that cancer is so prevalent in our society today, because we do not deal with our feelings. We do not handle them. We do not process them. We shove them to the side and we pretend like they're not there. And guess what? They just build and grow and send out their little tentacles. And it ruins our lives. It causes us relationship problems and health problems and you name it. Okay, enough about that. So we don't want to hide it. We don't want to minimize it. We want to confront it. That's the very first thing you want to do when this fear comes up, and my God, I mean, who doesn't have fear, especially if you're a parent or a grandparent and you're sending your kids off to school and expecting they're going to come home, right? But you worry, will they come home? This is the terrible fear that we're living with today like never before. I mean, when I was growing up, this was unheard of. There was no such thing as this. I mean, this is craziness. So Okay, so that's the very first thing, is you want to confront it. You don't want to hide it. All right, but don't stop there. Okay, because then, oh my goodness, once you bring it up, it brings up all the fear, right? So from a spiritual perspective, and I always go there first, always, because that is our number one best defense against any pain and suffering we're experiencing in the world, and that is to go to your inner guide, to get still for a minute and get in touch and bring that pain, bring that anguish to your higher self and ask for help. And know you'll get it, because you will. And one of the forms that it may come in, and this is the practical approach that I want to take today about how to deal with this, is and I'll quote from the Bible, Matthew 18:3, I believe it is. The quote is, and you should be, unless you become as little children, something like this. Unless you become as little children, you will never enter the gates of heaven. And what does that mean? To enter the gates of heaven, to me, means to be happy, right? To be joyous, to be stress free. To be stress-free. That's it. That's what we want. So that's what we want to do. We want to enter the gates of heaven, and be free of our stress. But you have to what? Be as little children. Now, what are little children like? So let's look at little children for a minute. And I do want to point out that this is something that's close to my heart, because in this discussion, this interview, the woman that was one of the women that was interviewed started a business making slime, special slime, not your normal everyday, CVS counter slime, but really good quality stuff in all kinds of flavors and colors and this and that, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so she's talking about it, and she says, you would not believe how many of her customers are adults. They're adults. They love to play with slime. And that makes sense to me. It really does, because there's something about, I mean, like, if you like to bake bread, I mean, bread is a great example of the same idea as slime. You're mushing something, and you're working it with your hands, and you're squishing and squeezing, and you're getting out all that frustration. So I can really understand why slime is a big adult favorite. So kid adulting is playing with slime. It's playing games. It's skipping down the street. And I have my way of exhibiting my kid in me is, if you look on my altar, which is right behind me, and these are all my sacred and precious things, and right on the corner over there is Samantha, who is a little kitty cat, one of those little stuffed animal toys that supposedly kids buy, but the adults love them too. I see many adults in their offices have something like Samantha sitting on their desks. So, you pick it up, you squeeze it. It's got this squeezy little crunchy things inside that are just fun to kind of manipulate. So, and it's a stress reduction device, right? Being a child, so getting back to that discussion about what is it to be a child, what does a child do? A child, and this is the number one thing I think is important to know about children, is they are in the moment. When they're playing, when they're having fun and doing their thing, they are in the moment. They're not worrying about what happened before. They're not thinking about what's coming next. They are right present in the moment, totally absorbed in their activity. And we can see that with our kids today. Even, like, go try to talk to one of the kids that's sitting on their, PlayStation with the headphones on, playing with the neighbor's kids, some game. Same thing, right? They are so totally involved that they have, and I think that's one of the reasons why we see our kids on these things so much, is because it's an incredible escape for them. They're getting away from all of the horrors that are going on, all the fear. I mean, you don't think your kids, when they go to school, are not worried too that a shooter may come into their classroom? You bet they are. And many of them are not expressing it, and we've never seen so much mental distress in our country as we have today, in the schools, and for everybody, really. So, okay, so that's my message today, is that one of the greatest stress relievers for our fears about school shootings or any of those mass shootings, or really anything, is to take time out to play. Be as a little child. Go out, do whatever floats your boat, whatever you want to do. Ride your bicycle if you've got one. Skip down the street, go dancing around the living room, put on the music, whatever it is that makes you feel joyous, feel free and loose and in the moment. And that, at least in that moment, the stress will be gone. I don't know what's going to happen in the next moment, but in that moment, the stress will be gone. And you can then move into the next moment feeling a little lighter and a little brighter. So that's a good thing, right? All right, so I hope that was helpful to you today. Remember, I would love that you can get more good stuff from me, some guided meditations and some good thoughts and what have you, in my private Facebook group, which is called Calm, Creative, Joyful for the Busy Entrepreneur. So please go sign up there and join us. And remember, everything begins with a thought. So I want you to notice your thoughts and don't push them aside. Bring them to your higher self and let them be healed. Okay? All right, so until next time, have a beautiful weekend. The sun is shining here on Long Island, and I am so excited to get outside today a little bit. And have a beautiful weekend until I see you again next week. Bye-bye.